Joining me right now is Suman Mokhtarian, undefeated Australian top team boss.
Is that right?
And
Yeah.
can I call you a UFC featherweight?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet.
Nah, you can't. Well, I don't think anyone on the Ultimate Fighter is really a UFC fighter yet. Even though we wear the gloves, we're not really UFC fighters yet. There's a few people that are UFC fighters, but no, I wouldn't say until you've had your first UFC fight that you're a UFC fighter yet. So I don't want to put that on myself.
You just got back from the Ultimate Fighter 27 season, filmed it all. How does it feel to be back at home with your team and your family?
Yeah, it feels great. It was a great experience being over in Las Vegas for the Ultimate Fighter season 27. But it's hard. You think that you watch it on TV and you're like, oh, these guys are emotional. These guys are this or this guy or that. It really is a tough competition, mentally, physically. It is a tough competition. It is hard being away from your friends, family, and loved ones, and being in that environment as well. It's an uplifting environment, but at the same time, you can have your worst days and you can have your best days. 2 days apart from each other. One day's real good, one day's real bad, but it's a priceless experience. That's how I would put it. It had its good points and its bad points.
You said that during the filming, you could have your best days and your worst days 2 days apart. Emotionally, mentally, it must be crazy, right?
Yeah, it really is. You got to remember, it's not just we're gonna go in there and fight one time. We're showing who we are as people as well. People can really see what a person is like through these shows. So to have the cameras kind of around you, catching every bit of emotion, when like I said, you are having those good days and bad days, it'll give you a real different sense of what it takes to be a fighter. And it was different for me being that person in front of the camera this time. I'm a big Ultimate Fighter fan, and watching it, some days I'd wake up in that house and I'd look at the cameraman and they'd be like looking right at me, and I'm like, man, I'm that other guy on the other side of the camera right now. And sometimes you didn't mind the camera being around. When the good days are around, you got to smile and you're walking around with your chest puffed up, and then other days when you want to be by yourself. You don't want to be with any of the cast. You don't want to be with any of the cameras, and you're just in your own little world, and you can't get away from them. Then everything is captured. The good and the bad is captured. So that's why I think that it's a great show, because it's as real as it can get.
What did you miss the most when you were in the house?
To be honest, it's like most people would say. For me, it would be my phone, but it really wasn't. Just the freedom, like the option of being able to do what I want when I want. So as we know, the Ultimate Fighter is a reality television show. Everything must be captured on camera, so it's little things. We've obviously got to have microphones on at all times, and we can't, like, every time a camera comes, we can't just try to run away from a camera or something. We just got to kind of go about our normal daily things. So sometimes it's that moment that you want to get away and be by yourself, not have a microphone on, and that's just the hardest part. That little bit of freedom. I'm the type of person, I don't really like being told what to do, but I know what I signed up to when I went to the Ultimate Fighter. You sign up to a competition where you must train this many times a day, do this much training, go to the gym at these times, eat at these times. That was kind of the difficult thing, not having enough of a say for myself that if I wanted to leave the house or not. Like, as in walk down the road, or just simple things like that. Go to the shops and get myself a drink without having to write it on a list and having it brought to me. I like to do things like that sometimes. I like to go somewhere and grab something to eat instead of having it brought to me, because I want to get away. Not being able to get away was a bit hard.
But now you're back. You have all the freedom in the world. Over the weekend, you're at Hex Fight Series 13.
Yeah.
People saw you. You're wearing a brace on your leg.
Oh, yeah.
What happened? That's what people want to know.
If everyone must know the truth. Okay. So it was out of my own stupidity, but had nothing to do with anything. It's just like an old recurring injury. But I was silly enough to be riding a bike, thinking I was a dirt rider or whatever. Jumped up, fell off the bike, made a fool of myself. Hurt my knee a little bit, but I actually had a big gash on my knee, right under my kneecap. So I had to receive a lot of stitches. So right on my kneecap, having stitches, I can't bend or do anything about my leg, you know. So I've had to keep it straightened out, and I got to wait until all the stitches come out until I can actually do something. So everyone's like starting rumors and stuff, but so one person said I had staph on my leg. One person said I tore my ACL. One person said I tore my MCL. One person said I'm faking it just so I didn't have to fight on the Ultimate Fighter. There's a lot of stories going around, but the truth will come out soon enough.
Well, I think that makes it more fun, right? To have
Yeah.
people spread rumors about you. It's even the one where they're saying it's fake, like you're not even hurt, which is pretty insane.
That's actually been my favorite one. The one that's saying that I'm not actually hurt. That's actually my best one. But I like the someone said that I got bitten by a shark, but they would have realized that I don't actually know how to swim, so that wasn't possible. You wouldn't have found me in the ocean.
Well, you're at Hex. Hex, they always put on great cards. You are also a product of Hex, and you said before that without Hex, you would probably not be on the show right now, right? Now, who was the guy? I know one of your guys was on the show, Darwin. What did you think about his performance?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was one of Darwin's like worst performances, I would say. Just a lot of things leading up to the fight. Sometimes we take things personally from outside the cage, and we take them in the cage with us. Some people would have said that Darwin shouldn't have fought. And I might have been one of those people as well that said Darwin shouldn't have fought in that situation, just because his mind wasn't focused on the fight. And when the stakes are this high right now, you can't take a backward step, and you can't make any mistakes, but Darwin, being the person he is, really wanted to fight, really wanted to go in there. He'd signed on the dotted line, so he said he was going to do it, and he went out there and did it. And took 14 minutes for him to wake up. 14 minutes for him to wake up, and when he woke up, he decided he wanted to put someone else to sleep. His opponent is a tough young man from training out of Korean top team. They're an amazing gym. He had a great game plan coming into that fight, but Darwin just needs that one hit. That one hit can change your life. And everyone has seen the picture that's been going viral. Dan Hooker's shared the photo around, and other media outlets have shared it around. The news actually in Australia have gotten a hold of that photo, and they're starting to send it to promoters and fighters, and they're asking questions about it. Now, my opinion on that is I think the media are going to try and twist that around and say how brutal and disgusting of a sport that it is. They're not going to show the light side of that, but it is what it is. His opponent is fine now. He was in a bad shape when he was in the cage after he received that uppercut, and I think that hammer fist that he took as well was completely unnecessary. It's not really Darwin's fault. I think it's more the referee's fault. Darwin being in the moment, you could see Darwin was taking his time, and yeah, it was hard to see. We got to see him at the back. He wasn't doing it very good, but by the end of the night, he was up and walking around, and he was breathing fine. So, you never want to see that happen to a fighter, and Darwin didn't either. But that's the aim of the game. It could be me one day. It could be Darwin. It could be any of us. That's the risk that we take.
For sure. Korean top team, they brought over 5 fighters. What was your assessment of the talent that they brought over?
Man, I've been saying it since I first fought on Rebel FC, maybe about 4 years ago. I would say Korean MMA in general is extremely underrated. extremely underrated. But I think the Korean top team is one of the top gyms in the world. I think all the fighters that they produce are well-rounded grapplers, well-rounded strikers. They're real good. They're real tough. They're always durable. You know, I know Dongin, who runs Top FC as well, and who's the owner of Korean top team. He is an amazing coach, and their guys come to fight. You no matter what their records are, sometimes, man, you know that those guys are extremely well trained and ready to fight. So anytime you see a Korean top team guy on the card, you know it's serious. You know it's legit.
You are familiar with going viral on the internet, and on that card, a Korean fighter had his back taken and pulled off a crazy submission that basically you never see. Even in jiu-jitsu tournaments, you don't see that submission, but he pulled it off, right? So what was that like when you were there live?
So I was actually watching that live like while it was happening. So I was kind of cage side, and I noticed that the guy who'd caught his back, Simon Carson. In case anyone didn't know, he's actually a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He caught his back, and it is a white belt mistake, but it's a mistake some people make. Usually you see this mistake being made in the gym. He made it in an MMA fight. You cross your feet, and you kept your feet real low below the hips, which means that the person can obviously grab their foot, put it over your feet while they're crossed, and can push their hips forward to submit you. I think the main problem was Simon actually rolled him over and started trying to flatten him out while his feet were crossed. So he actually more so submitted himself in that situation. It is an embarrassing thing to happen. I hate laughing about it because like it could happen to anyone. But that sucked. Like I was in shock when it happened. Like I didn't realize what happened. So I seen Simon punching him, and I wasn't paying attention to the tap because I didn't expect for Simon to tap. So I was looking at the Korean guy. I seen the referee stop the fight, and I'm like, yeah, the referee must have seen that the Korean guy wasn't going to get out of that situation. Good stoppage. Didn't need to take any more damage. You know, that was possibly a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
You know, and then I see the Korean guy get up, and he's like shaking his hand. I'm like, I said to one of the guys that was with me, I was making a joke. He goes, see that? That's the attitude that you've got to have. Even when you lose, you still got to act like you're winning. And then I looked over at Simon, and he was like shaking his head, and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my God, did he just get tapped out with that? Like I realized that it was on, but I didn't think that he was gonna get submitted with it, you know? But just tells you can't lose focus. You cannot lose focus. 1 second and it's all over.
In the co-main event, you had a couple guys that are coming up in the scene in Australia, Matt Vale and Kit Campbell. They are both guys that I think they both should be in the UFC, but they were fighting each other basically for a contract, right? What did you think of that fight?
I've seen Kit fight a few times. I've been cage side for him to fight, and I've been there cage side for Matt to fight. I'm friends with Matt, and I speak to Kit as well. You know, but pre-fight, I wasn't sure if Matt could deal with Kit's aggression and temper. So I'm like, oh man, I know Kit's gonna come out real hard and real aggressive and really try and put it on him. And I wanted to because I know that Matt likes to make fighters fight at his pace, you know. And I thought that if Kit disrupted that and really put the pressure on, and mixed in his grappling as well as his striking, it would have been good for him. When the fight started, though, I seen Kit was moving around a lot. He was in a much different stance than he usually is. He was a lot less aggressive than he usually was, and I think that that Matt just was the calmer. Like Matt looked like the champion, to be honest. Matt looked like the one who was calm, who knew the game plan going ahead, using his kicks well, using his length well, and really controlling the center of that cage. He looked like the champion, and he took it out. You know, it was 5 amazing rounds. You know, Kit had a few little glimpses here and there, but it was a pretty good shutout from Matt. I think that Matt has shown that he is now the number 1 welterweight in Australia. I think that if anyone deserves a shot in the UFC, it is him. And I did say it is between Kit and Matt, whoever wins this fight. Matt's only loss was, I think, his fourth fight maybe, or fifth fight against Benny Alloway, which he lost by decision. I know that wasn't his best performance. I think that if they rematched right now, it would be a far different experience. Like, he's gotten that much better since our fight. So I would love to see Matt Vale in the UFC. I think he earned it. He's the XFC champ now. He's the Hex champ. That's two outstanding shows, two big shows in Australia. You know, for me, it's not about Australia or New Zealand. You know, our two countries as well. As long as we can get anyone in, it's bringing attention to this side of the world. So I hope to see Matt in the UFC sometime soon. He's a teammate of Luke Jamu, so it would be great to see them both in the UFC. I'm good friends with Luke, so to see them both in the UFC would be outstanding.
Talking about another guy, the main event, Jim Crute. He's another guy a lot of people are talking about right now. And should he already be in the UFC, do you think?
He should already be in the UFC. He should already be in the UFC. Like, I was sitting cage side for that fight as well. Like, when I was sitting cage side, I know how good his opponent is. Some people might not know how good Hyun Kim is, but I know how good he is. Because I fought on the same card as him twice, like I said. And that guy's a beast. Like I said, the Korean top team guys are some of the best fighters in the world. I'm pretty sure Hyun Kim is one of the captains of their team.
Yeah.
You know, so he's one of their leaders. If he's one of the leaders, you know the guy's got skill. He's an amazing grappler. He's beaten one of our fighters before. You know, so I've seen what he's capable of. Jim Crute came out there, banged with him, took him down, and like Hyun Kim had his moments, but it was a very dominant fight from Jim. He showed at his age, his maturity, how hard he hits, how good he went leaps and bounds over his last performance. And again, he's a young kid. He's 21, 22 years old. He's now 7-0, right? And he has fought anyone that you have put in front of him. He has fought the best of the best. And, you know, we've got Tyson Pedro right now who's in the UFC, who's actually in the top 15, who's doing great. I would right now go as far as saying Jim Crute could be one of the best light heavyweights that Australia's ever had. You know, I think he's a legitimate chance of having a top 5 title contender in the future in the UFC. I really think that Jim could be as good as what Robert Whittaker is achieving now. You know, Robert Whittaker, when he was at that same age, you know, he was making waves. But I think that standing on the floor, everything, Jim is the real deal. I think that he is something else, and I think that he could be there. I would not be surprised if we have another UFC title contender in the near future.
Yeah, Hex is they're producing so many great fighters. You're on the list of those fighters. And then you got Jim Crute, Matt Vale, Kit Campbell, Darwin Sagaret. You know, the list goes on. That these guys haven't even stepped into the octagon yet, but you expect that to happen really, really soon. Now, moving on to The Ultimate Fighter, season 27 is going to start April, I believe, 18th. And you could,
Yes.
Where can you watch that live in Australia?
So it will be on Fox Sports 1 in the States. I think it will be on one of the Fox Sports channels. I think it might be Fox Sports 3 in Australia. If not, if it's not on that, you would be able to catch it on UFC Fight Pass, obviously. So I think those are the 3 main ones. But somehow you could illegally get it on Facebook. You can get anything on the internet these days.
Exactly.
April 18th will be the first episode. The first episode, obviously, they'll introduce you to the coaches. They'll probably have the team picks. They'll probably have like how the evaluations went and things like that. And there'll be some interesting things from episode 1 to the very last episode. It is going to be interesting because every fight that happens, every person that fights, there was some interesting shit going on around the time they were fighting. So, you know, I don't think anyone should miss out on any episode. And like this show is full of twists. Like they said, James Krause, and I think it was who said it. James Cross and someone. I think it might have been Daniel Cormier. When they obviously like going throughout the season. I think it was week 1 or week 2 because Cormier worked on season like 2 seasons of the Ultimate Fighter, like just coaching. I think one of them was a cost check, and obviously James Krause had been on the show through the redemption season and season 14 as well, the live season. So because they had kind of already been around there, they were like saying from the first week, I'm just waiting for all the twists to start. I'm waiting for all the twists to start. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They're like, this show just has a way of turning itself on its head, and it really did. You know, like that show was expect the unexpected.
All right, now you were in the house with them for weeks and weeks. You got familiar with them. Some of them you don't like. Some of them you like. You know, some of them you don't care about really. Of course, that's how life is, right? People are all different. Now, what I want to do is I'm gonna say the names of each contestant, and what I want you to do is tell me in one sentence. You know, like first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, so we're gonna start with the lightweights because that's not your weight class. So the first person is Thailand Clark.
Thailand Clark. The first thing that comes to my mind when thinking about Thailand Clark would be Fort Worth, Wichita, Texas, right? Because he is constantly telling you where he's from. He's constantly telling you that he's from the 316. So that is the number one thing that comes to my mind. Every time I picture his head, he's like shouting out the hood that he's from. You know, so that would be my first thing on him. So you will hear it throughout the whole show. He will tell you a million times where he's from.
All right, Joe Giannetti.
Oh, Skeletor. This man looks dead at weigh-ins. Like this guy, honestly, looks like Skeletor is a perfect name for him. That is the number one thing that comes to my mind with Joe. Long, lanky. He looks like a skinny version of Nate Diaz when he fights. He's a skinny Nate. He's skinny Nate.
John Gunther.
Oh my God. The Ultimate Fighter is now renamed the John Gunther Show. I promise you, he is the most interesting man on this whole show. Do not sleep on John Gunther.
Jose, go ahead.
Yeah. There's probably things I can't say, so I'll stay away from it. But John is the most interesting man on this show.
Jose Martinez.
I'm just going to use one word. Insane. Actually, no, I'm going to use a couple words. Insane and stupid. That guy, he's an intelligent guy, but he just doesn't like to listen to no one else.
Luis Pena.
Violent Bob Ross. You know, he's got some skills, and he'll definitely tell you how good he is. No person more confident than Violent Bob Ross in the house.
Richie Smolin.
My man, Richie. SPG, Irish Richie. Some legit jiu-jitsu. Awesome jiu-jitsu. And a really good guy too.
Mike Trizano.
The cowboy. That guy does not stop walking around with his American flag cowboy hat. He is like the ultimate American. Like, I don't think there's anyone that could want to be more American than that man. And the worst part about it is he's not even American. He's Italian.
Alan Zuniga.
Espanol. He's from Costa Rica. Never got to speak to him too much because he didn't speak much English, but he loves fruit.
All right, now let's move to the featherweights. You got Jay Cuccinelli. Yeah.
Cucci. I would call him the father of the house. You know, he was a little bit older than everyone. He always had some good advice, and he's a tough dude too.
Tyler Diamond.
The all-American American wrestler. Typical alpha male jock. Nice guy. But he will tell you that he wrestled all the time.
Brad Katona.
Brad Katona. Superman, aka Clark Kent. I gave him that nickname. I didn't care what anyone says. I'll give you the nickname that John Vellante gave him. It's Brock Katona, because he looks like a mini Brock Lesnar. If he had like a little, what's that tattoo that he's got, like the sword in the middle of his chest?
Yeah.
It looked like Brock Lesnar's twin in a 135-pound body.
Bryce Mitchell.
Thug nasty, insane, crazy. He could make a gun out of like bark that he finds in the backyard. He was always climbing up the house. He was always getting up to something, and he will definitely tell you how he feels about certain things. You'll see him on the show a lot, talking some crazy stuff, but that's how he is.
Delani Perry.
Oh, don't get me started on Delani Perry. Nah. Delani Perry is much wiser than what people give him credit for. Delani's got some skill, but the best way to describe him would be obnoxious.
Kyler Phillips.
Talented, super talented. I think that the world is at that kid's feet. I think he's one of the best guys that I've yet to see in action. So big future.
Ricky Steele.
Ricky the Man of Steel, the fittest man on the planet. The Karate Kid, he's got his own style and his own way about things. I don't know how they're going to show him on the show. He's a super nice guy. He's a bit quiet at times, but he's a good dude. He's got some legit stand-up skills. He's a good defensive wrestler. He's good.
Last but not least, Suman Mokhtarian.
Oh, the king. The only way to describe it. What can fans expect to see from me this season of The Ultimate Fighter is just me being myself. Really, I did my best. I came into that situation where, like, some people obviously would doubt me, and some people would really, really, really back me. I think I've been quite lucky to get to where I've gotten. And some people would be happy about that, some people wouldn't, but you guys will all see a part of me on the show. You guys will all see what I'm like. You guys can make your opinion up if you like me or not after the show. If you want to abuse me, keep abusing me. But I'll keep doing myself, I had fun.
April 18th, but over here on this side of the world, April 19th in the morning, you'll be able to watch the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter Season 27. Thank you, Suman, for your time, and we'll definitely be talking very soon.
Thank you very much, brother.